Hello, hello, hello. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Stranger Within. Who was that? Who talks like that? Let's try that all again. Hey, hi. Welcome to Stranger Within, the podcast. I'm really glad you're here. I feel like I need an exorcism or something. What is going on? Happy Friday. Thanks for letting me come out a day late. I was sleepy. That's my excuse. I've been taking some time to read through. First of all, thanks for sending in your work in progress, your Dear Orphans, because I've been delayed on reading a lot of them, but I've been loving them. And I wanted to read one today that sometimes I like to hold on to emails I get until I'm kind of in a similar landscape, or I can answer it from lived experience, or just it's a gripe of mine too, maybe. I always think my mic isn't on, but it is. So I've had a couple emails sitting in the inbox for a little while that I thought I might tackle one today, because I've had kind of a similar experience. It involves dating and involves some of the themes that I've talked about from an earlier episode called Love Starved, about how we find ourselves navigating really quickly intense relationships that we're like, how did this happen? So what, am I okay? How did I get here? How did this forest fire start, essentially? So we're going to talk about one of those letters today. Very, very excited about that. Very excited to hear what y'all think. And then, just some housekeeping stuff. I know it's the middle of the dog days of summer, but if you wouldn't mind, guys, could you like and subscribe? I'm flattered with how many people are enjoying the podcast, getting something nutritious out of it, which is my primary reason for doing it. But also just there's a lot of us in this boat. So the more you like and subscribe and share it with people, the more just think little strange orphan you, not knowing this exists. And then you find out it exists and you feel less alone. That's what we want. So we want all the orphans. We want all the orphans to find this podcast. So the more you like and subscribe and share it, it's better for the world. All right, I'm going to read an email that I got. And then I have a really fun announcement. I have a really fun announcement coming up. Maybe next week. We're going to do something cool and travel-y. Anyway, I'll get into that later. All right, this is an email I got. This email, you could tell this person wrote this in a state of flustered. I could tell it's 2 a.m. They're flustered. They don't know what's going on, and they just spit this thing out. I don't even know if they realize they hit send. It's like they wrote to me frantically from a closet. It feels like they're like, I can't do this anymore. It feels like this person's kind of locked in someone's closet, and they need advice in order to get out. I don't know. I'm just gonna read it. They write, Dear Orphan, I have recently somehow seems vital in this context. I have recently somehow started talking to a man who lives in my building. What began as a friendship based on similar interests has now expanded into what feels like a really intense, bonded thing. Say no more. Lots of messaging, texting, hanging out, and sharing personal life stories. While I enjoy our time together and feel close to him, I feel that it's going in the direction of too much and too fast, and I don't know what to do to not lose myself again, as I have in relationships past. Fair enough. The energy between us is so intense and we haven't even made out yet. What frightens me is that I already feel tied to them, sometimes consumed by their energy. I don't know if this person meant to write tired or tied. I already feel tied and sometimes consumed by their energy at the risk of being able to fully protect my boundaries. Oof. Oof. Don't we know about that? He knows my schedule and where I am most of the time. Okay, this took a turn. We go to the same gym and the same restaurants and live in the same building. Oh, this is turning into like a, are you okay? Please help me. Please help me. And it just ends there. I'm in the closet. No. It says, please help me in what I should do. Do I see where things go or cut them off now? And if so, how? Oh, honey, I know exactly where you are. And then they finish by saying, I don't know if this is a flaming hot Cheeto of a mistake or if I'm just scared and overreacting. Sincerely, Discernment. Amazing. Amazing discernment. Are you making fun of me? Because I don't have any either. Okay. Well, first of all, I really hope that you are not in their house. I really hope that you are safe with your doors locked and they're not in it. They're not in your apartment. The fact that you're like, they know where I live and where I go. Oh, yeah. How do you get out of this? All right. Well, it looks like you're in a little bit of a energetic pickle here with this person. And by the way, first of all, I just want to say, like, I totally understand this. I totally understand this person's writing. Like, I've been here. Oh boy, have I been here. We've all had that relationship, that person that's just kind of like really high octane, like condensed high octane energy between you and another person. And it's just like, it's like being in a casino with all the oxygen being pumped in, and you are just like on a high with this person. There is a cord between you two. It feels like there's a vacuum seal between you and another person, and you don't know how this, well, you don't even know what caused it. It's like they may not even be attractive. There's just some sort of energetic vortex sucking you two together, and you have no explanation for why it's happening. And by the way, these aren't necessarily even like red flag people. Like, you say he's a very nice person. Did you say he's a very nice person? While I enjoy our time and feel close to him. Right. There's a lot of messaging and texting and hanging out, but it feels like it feels like a really intensely bonded relationship. Yeah. These aren't like red flag people. It just, you're bordering on, or it might very well be a trauma bond, a soul tie, a karmic relationship. These people come around, and what's strange is that they come around and you think you're like, oh, I'm done with those lunatics. And then you get one that's like really nice. And it gets really confusing because you're like, the green flags actually outweigh the red flags, but the intensity is still there. And that the quick, hot fastness is still there, which is kind of a bigger red flag than all the green flags. So I get it. And I think I'll get into why this energy can often, people can mistake it for like a soulmate or a really intense connection that feels like a karmic connection, right? Like, this must be my person or my twin flame. I have no idea what twin flame even means, but a lot of times this kind of sounds like it would fall into that category. But I'll explain why it's not. And I'll explain why I think it's more of a forest fire waiting to happen than it is someone you should go kayaking with. First of all, I don't envy you. But the reason I wanted to get into this letter this week is because I've been dealing with a similar type of energy in my own life. And so I can really relate. I can really relate to this person, to discernment, because I'd love some of my own, frankly. Where do I begin? At first, everything presents to you as a green flag, which is why it's a little tough and a little daunting, because you're like, this is all very nice stuff. I think when you've been treated like horribly in relationships in the past, and then someone shows up and they're doing good things, you're like, well, this has to be the answer, right? I was in a, I don't even know what to call it. I never even touched the guy, but all of a sudden it's like we became entangled with one another energetically, and we're going out to eat and we're sharing stories and we have the same interests, and he's a doctor and I'm in the medicine and in the same ways, and we're sharing stories, and his place is filled with books and he makes me soup. And you're like, this is like a dream come true. I've fallen into a storybook. I've fallen into a dream. There's attentiveness, there's consideration, there's constant attention, there's chemistry, there's too much chemistry. That's always the sign, right? There's too much chemistry. But very responsive on texts, making plans, initiating. It's like anywhere there would be a red flag, this is the opposite. It's like these are all very nice gestures, but yet something is still off, right? The energy is a little too geared up. I'll tell you this, after a few years of like being in the wilderness, or even in your case, discernment, I don't know how long you've been dating, but from the stories I hear from people, like dating is not easy. And if you've been dating for a while, really off with people, and then you get someone that's over the top, amazing, you're going to kind of want to crawl into that nest and stay there for a while. It would be so easy to like fall into that world. It almost feels like seductive and like a nice little chamber to go lie in for a year and not accomplish any of your dreams, right? Like, it feels like, come here. It's a trap, right? And how do I know this is a trap? We've never kissed. We've never really even held hands. There's been no intimate contact whatsoever. And yet it feels extremely intimate and extremely bonded until I kind of cut it off. When it feels like there's like an imaginary set of handcuffs between you and another person and you're not even dating, that is a giant glaring indication that there is an underlying subconscious tether between the two of you that is rooted in a very old wound, which is essentially what a trauma bond is. And what I think you're asking me, discernment, is not if this person is the right person or not for you. What I think you're asking me is, can I still get away with running into the fire or not? Can I still drink the soup? I think that's what you're really asking me. And I'm going to try to go into why you should not drink the soup. But I'm going to set up an argument for you, and you're welcome to take it or not, you know? But I think you pretty much know what this person's about. I think you pretty much know the answer to your question. You're just asking if you can have your soup and eat it too, really. But look, this is welcome to the show, man. Like, welcome to being human. Like, we've been in this boat for centuries, okay? Like Saint Augustine's Confessions famously says, "Give me chastity, Lord, but not yet. Just not yet." The question is not like, is this a trauma bond and is that good or bad? The question is, how do we navigate the temptation of a trauma bond? Like, so everybody saw, most people have seen The Odyssey by now, right? Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. There's a really fascinating scene in that movie, where their ship goes against, the sirens. And so these sirens are like, they're like, female heads in bird bodies that basically sing the most beautiful songs that get sailors to steer their ships awry, off course, to essentially be shipwrecked on a island where they're eaten by monsters. That's it. And everybody knows that these sirens are just getting you dead. You're just going to wind up dead. But people still fall for them because their songs are so beautiful and they promise you all the promises of the world. And I don't think that's very different from what we experience with trauma bonds. It's like, this is someone feeding me soup. This is someone who's saying, like, I'm the nurturing answer to all of your mortal emptiness inside. It's me. And yet something inside says, I can't. I need to stay clear of this. I need to stay on the course and not let your beautiful songs just drag me off course and get me murdered. It's just so confusing, right? Because you have someone in front of you and it feels really good. And for like the first time in maybe a really long time, you have someone that's like reflecting you back to you, or maybe the best side of you back to you. You have someone who's nurturing you. You have someone who's paying attention to you. You have someone who's literally making you soup, right? Who's going to say no to that? Who's going to shut the door on that? It doesn't make any sense. But when there's some like inkling inside that it's too much and too intoxicating, I think that's a really important message to heed. The thing about discernment in these scenarios and why most people don't resort to it or rely on it when faced with the high octane energy of another person is that at a baseline level, discernment requires a level of loneliness, which for a lot of us is really hard, especially when you have flaming hot Cheeto in your hand that you want to eat, right? Like, because we're either addicted to the chemicals that the relationship is providing us with, that old reptilian place in the brain that's convincing us that this like intoxicating love is the answer to all of our problems. Or B, this is where most of us falter, myself included, cutting it off cold turkey would require sitting in the void and waiting for something new to come in. But in that void space is where you meet the wound that person was meant to fill. In that void, there's no soup, right? And so when you're starving or when you're craving nurture or love or reflection or whatever it is that you didn't get early on that this person is dangling in front of you, it's really hard to just like be like, nah, I'm good. There's chemicals. You're starving. Given the choice of soup or no soup, who's going to say no soup? In this economy, please. There's a reason why. I love this. There's a reason why Satan waited for Christ to be starving in the desert before he showed up and was like, yo, dog, you want some soup? And a nation to rule over? I got you. Rather than deal with the loneliness that discernment requires, we would rather dance with the question of temptation, even knowing that it's like totally wrong. And largely because that is chemicals and we're starving and we want something to put in our mouth. Here's the thing about soup, okay? When you've never had the real thing, when you've never had the real love or the real security or the real stability or the real reflection that you should get, you should have gotten, these fast, intense, quick versions feel really good and they feel quite delicious. And they're very hard to say no to. They're hard to turn away from. You're like a kid on Halloween with a pillowcase who's like, I'm just going to walk around. I'm not going to get any candy. Okay, what? That's what it feels like. Everyone's rotting their teeth out. And you're like, I'm going to just go for a jog. Because remember, you're starving, right? So here's the thing. Do you ever go out to like run an errand and you're running a lot of errands and you're driving around all day and you're just like, I need something to put in my mouth. I'm dying. I'm starving here. And you stop for like the closest thing, which is like some garbage from Target and then like a Carl's Jr., whatever. And you just like shove it down your mouth. And it's amazing in the moment. Like it's amazing when you're eating it. But then like later, like by evening time, it doesn't feel as good. And you have a refrigerator of vegetables just like giving you the finger that you were going to cook up. And then the next day at the gym, you don't perform as well. It's like, it's kind of like that. It's like you haven't just scratched an itch. You've actually set yourself back. You've actually pulled yourself off course. And I think that the energy dynamics of relationships can do that to us too. Worse than a Big Mac, you know? Abstaining from it all, however, like if you're able to pull yourself out and be in a state of discernment for a little bit longer, just a little bit longer, it forces something really interesting to happen. It forces you to be in that void space with yourself. And it forces you to sit in the place that is hungry for soup. And when you're still craving that, it forces you to see and to look at where that old hunger is coming from. And when we sit in this hungry place, something really fascinating occurs. It feels devastating at first, but eventually something, just being in that place with ourselves, with our old selves, I can't explain what it is, but something becomes unlocked and something becomes more fortified within you without the external fill up. Just being in that space with yourself and just sort of acknowledging the old hunger and giving it space to like announce itself and all of its agonies in a way. Being in that space, you fortify yourself way more than if you were to just fill it up with another bowl of soup with some external person. But the problem is it's really hard for a lot of people to hold that space, to hold that old hunger, that sadness. And again, I know that we're human beings. Like it's really hard, but at some point you do have to get in front of yourself. Like I really do think giving too much of our energy to the wrong things and the wrong people can really drag your life off course. I think for so many of us, like I'm one of those people that I've fought so hard to get my antenna back to me. And by me, I mean like the divine me, that I used to be such a people pleaser and such I would follow people like I was like a child lost in the mall. And I really do think it takes so long to bring your attention back to where it's meant to be, that once you have done it, you really don't want to be following the wrong sirens out at sea, you really don't want to wind up shipwrecked again. Because it doesn't just make you feel a little bad about yourself in the moment. It sets you back energetically. You don't get those months back. You've been pulled off course, and you know, you might have been eaten by a monster too. Who knows? I'm really, really adamant about this. Discernment is mandatory. And once you know that this isn't a maybe he's a red Cheeto, like maybe he's a forest fire waiting to happen. No, there's no leniency period anymore. You have to go. You have to get out of there. Because at that point, you're just negotiating with your correct life. Like at that point, you're just basically admitting you're a hostage crisis. You have to take your power back or your ship will go drastically off course. And believe me, I'm the first person to admit that this is not easy territory, especially if you're hungry and man, like it's hard to connect with people and it's hard to meet people that really reflect the good in you back to you. We need healthy relationships. But when you find that when they're intoxicating, when they're sucking up 80% of your attention span for the day, that's not something you can devote yourself to. That's taking you off your course. And at that point, you have to go. You have to put the soup down and you got to say no more. Margaret Atwood is a real beast. She's like, the desire to be loved is the last illusion. Give it up and you will be free. Written like a real Scorpio, that one. And I don't think that's totally true. I get the sentiment, and I think the sentiment is powerful, right? Like, I'm assuming she means love the way we should have been loved in childhood, like unconditionally. Yeah, dump that. That's not happening anymore. But I disagree that I think we still need a version of love. It's just not going to be the all-consuming kind, and it needs to be a healthier version than that. Love is not fast food. Love is not a forest fire. Love is slow and love is patient and it's earned. It's earned over long periods of time and a lot of discernment. Love doesn't naturally come from fast places. Car accidents do. So what is the question and what is the answer? I think that's what we're all trying to figure out here. I would say the question you're asking, you already know the answer to. It's a no. It's a big fat no. And how do you remove yourself? I would say you have to pull an Odysseus and you need to start putting some wax in places that you may not have thought you'd have to put wax in, but you do. You have to put some wax in your ears and maybe some other orifices as well. Wax up. You take that however you would like. You might want to have the hard conversation of saying, I need space. You say you're bad at boundaries. I would try asserting some boundaries here and say, hey, I need some space from this. It doesn't feel good to me right now. I'm losing a little bit of autonomy. So let's back it up. And then if that still isn't honored, if you don't feel like you're being heard, if your boundaries aren't being heard, you have to be the one to start cutting off energy to that situation. You have to be the one to go a different route. You have to be the one to get a new membership. And you have to be the one to stop getting those little hits of dopamine that you get from when you see them and they give you a boost of, chemical juice. I don't even know what we call in the brain. brain soup. And then my other advice would be sit in that empty space with yourself. So for the opposite energy is always going to be the medicine, right? So if you're craving those intense hot flashes of, I call it like fill-ups, like battery fill-ups of like high octane attention from another person. If that's what you were denied, be in that place with yourself that didn't get any attention, that didn't get any love, that was just abandoned and just like fucking ignored. Be with the kid that got no soup at all and listen to them. And the more you can hang out in that space, the more invincible you'll be. The more you'll fortify something without anyone else. And then otherwise, like, I think a perspective shift is very necessary here because this is the good news of the situation. What you are experiencing is what many call a counterfeit, meaning you've gotten kind of the version of something that you are creating, right? Like you've gotten someone that seems really nice and giving and excited to, they're attracted to you and whatever, and they want to have a relationship. It's just too much, too fast and too hot and too messy, right? The good news is that if you got the overbearing version, that just means that there's a version out there that's healthy. A counterfeit means that a real version does exist by virtue of there being a counterfeit version. So another way to look at the reality of the situation is like, hold out faith that the real person is there. I really like Kierkegaard's quote about like the opposite of sin is not virtue, it's faith. They used sin back then to mean like anything naughty, like anything a little too fun and exciting and bad for you and very bad for you. Desires of the flesh, right? So the opposite of sin is not virtue. You're not going to win this battle by gritting your teeth and going to church. You're going to win this battle by thinking over it, by telling yourself like, no, the right thing that's going to feel even better than this is going to come to me. Not like I have to deny myself of all of my wants. No. Don't fall into that trap. Your wants and your needs and the things that you really desire, they're coming. But you just have to wait a little bit. You just have to kind of heal the embers of this wound on your own first. But think above it. Don't think like you have to eat saltines for the rest of your life. I think we need way more hope in dating. I think that's the problem, is that there's this narrative going around right now that that there's no hope. And by the way, like I love the storyline of like being just like living with other women in a house in the middle of like the English countryside. I'm like fine with that if that winds up being my life, basically becoming Lolly Willows. But I think people don't have enough hope in dating. I think what matters is how loving someone is and how kind and good hearted they are. And there's plenty of those people out there. Like there are plenty of people that will meet you at your heart level. So love does exist. You just have to stay hungry for it, and you can't fill up on Cheetos. I always come back to Da Vinci's the greatest act of genius is being able to see outside of your current circumstances. Something to that effect. Think that better is coming. Think that the right thing is coming. But you have to become the answer to the right thing inside first. You have to you have to make your own soup for a little while, and then here's a test for you. Like if you're really still struggling, I added this and I don't know how I feel about it. It's a test I use. Here's a test I use with people when I am debating whether or not that they deserve entry into my life only because I've gotten so monastically obsessed with cleaning out the ding-dongs and just getting really clear on, we don't have a lot of time in the day, right? So if someone's going to be in your life and they're going to like get that 3-hour phone call, well, they better deserve it, right? So here is a test that I give myself when I'm deciding whether or not this is a romantic pursuit. And it's a big, heavy one. Are you ready? Are you ready? So if you're debating whether or not you want to stuff flaming hot Cheeto guy in your mouth, my question to you would be to ask yourself, would you want to serve them? And this is a serious question. Would you want to go out of your way to make their life easier? Do you believe in this person's purpose and their mission in this life to devote your own time and your own energy and your own efforts to helping them succeed? Do you want to serve their life? Or do you just like the way they make you feel? Because if it's the latter, I would get a dog. I think if Michelle Obama once said, like, I don't always like Barack, but I believe in him. Everyone from the Stoics to Michelle Obama have said the same things about love. It's like love is an act of devotion and service to someone else that you believe in their mission. You're not always going to like them, but a part of you has to value what something they stand for enough to be in service to them in some ways, or, probably half your life. Otherwise, you're just stuff in your mouth. Get out of there. Don't be a ding dong. And yeah, like, I hope I was very stern with you, discernment, because I think our energy and the direction that we put it really, really matters more than we realize. Like, wasted energy and a wasted life is such an offense to the divine. Don't do it, and have patience with yourself. Like, sometimes I think I'm just like standing in the same place year after year going like, I thought I was past this. Are you serious? And no, it's shown up. It's back. It's shown up again. But don't be too hard on yourself. Love isn't something you can crack. I mean, I've tried to I always try to give advice and sound like I know what I'm talking about. Love isn't something to crack. It's not something to, it's not a riddle to solve. It's really just like, is this someone I want to invest my time and energy into because I feel like they help me become the best version of myself? And sometimes becoming the best version of yourself is a really slow uncovering. And it's a really I'm in a place where I think the person that's going to be the right person for me is the person that just helps me get my writing done and doesn't bother me. That sounds awful and totally narcissistic, but sometimes when you figure out your life's purpose, you just want someone that's going to help you accomplish it and love you through the difficulty of accomplishing your purpose, not bring you on a side quest to go on some crazy romantic adventure all the time. You need that every now and then, but that's not every day. And if every day you're getting swept up in someone's energy over lattes, you're that's not an effective way to live life. If your life is no longer devoted to yourself, but someone else's frantic energy, you're already shipwrecked. It sounds brutal, but it's true. Discernment. I totally appreciate this letter, and I appreciate you for being so open and honest. I really hope you're not in this guy's closet still. I really hope you are okay and safe. Please let me know you're safe. yeah, I don't know. This is a big one. This affects us all. But I love you, Discernment. And I really appreciate you writing in. And please, guys, keep writing in because I love these things. I have a lot of thoughts on, if I haven't answered your message yet, it just means I'm still mulling over it, or I'm kind of waiting for the right time to pull it out of to debut it. But yeah. Okay, what else? Do I have anything else for today? I hope you guys are all having a really good summer weekend. Please like and subscribe. Please tell your friends about Strange Orphan. Mighty but humble. We're small and mighty. But yeah, keep writing in. I adore you guys. I adore your comments. And I really appreciate you guys, I don't know, just showing back up. It means a lot to me. So yeah, I'm gonna go make my own soup. And I hope you guys have a really good weekend. And I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.